See, the problem is you are the people who go and knock on the doors, right? But there is a problem that exists, and at some point you have to make your decision on which side of the team you're on. That says you have the law. You don't make law, right?
I don't.
Yeah, the ATF doesn't make law. A lot of law enforcement SWAT guys, I can't take part in an overstep past the line that says in good faith when I make the gear for every high-end special operations unit in America right now. That's all I do.
ATF encounter. The recent encounter between an ATF agent and a former SEAL Team 6 contractor highlights several critical issues surrounding law enforcement practices, personal privacy, and the complexities of arm regulation in the United States. This incident has garnered attention due to its implications on various aspects of civil rights and law enforcement methodology. The ATF's active role in regulating specific arm components, such as forced reset triggers, is a central element of this situation. FRTs have been a point of contention because they can significantly increase the firing rate of a semi-auto arm. In states like Texas, the ATF's proactive approach involves directly contacting individuals who have purchased these triggers, leading to potentially contentious interactions as exemplified in this case. During the encounter, the ATF agent approached the contractor to inquire about his FRT purchases. This approach was intended to ensure compliance with arm regulations, but became a point of controversy due to the contractor's reaction and the subsequent recording of the interaction. The contractor expressed surprise and disapproval of the agent's knowledge of his online purchases, highlighting a growing concern about privacy and surveillance in today's digital age.
I own the company Moonlight Industries.
Okay. Oh, really?
So we make like low visibility.
Oh, really?
I'm not refusing anything. I won't be answering any questions.
Okay. We, like you said, we are the ones that just come and knock on the door. We just enforce the laws.
You decide as you go the rules, right?
Again, that's not something I decide.
It's not.
The incident also brought into focus the agent's equipment and professionalism. Observers noted the agent's gear, particularly the inclusion of an AR-500 gong in her plate carrier, as a point of criticism. This aspect of the interaction underscores the importance of proper equipment and presentation in law enforcement operations, as these factors can significantly impact public perception and the effectiveness of law enforcement activities. One of the most critical elements of this encounter is the discussion of legal boundaries and individual rights. The contractor emphasized the need for a warrant and questioned the ATF's authority to conduct such inquiries without one, reflecting the legal framework within which law enforcement must operate. This highlights the ongoing tension between enforcing the law and respecting individual rights, a balance that is often at the heart of debates surrounding law enforcement practices. Furthermore, the incident raised significant concerns about government surveillance and individual privacy. The contractor's astonishment at the agent's knowledge of his transactions points to broader societal issues regarding data collection and privacy in the digital era. This concern is increasingly relevant as technology advances and government agencies have greater access to personal information. The public's response to this incident, particularly on social media and online platforms, is indicative of the skepticism and criticism that often greet government actions, especially in areas related to gun rights and privacy. The decision to record and publicize the interaction aligns with a growing tendency to document law enforcement encounters, reflecting a mistrust in government authority and a desire for transparency.
Sure. It's a bigger conversation than what you're having right now. No, I didn't do anything wrong. Exactly. I love good law-abiding cops. You decide as you go the rules, right?
Again, that's not something.
The challenges faced by regulatory agencies in adapting to technological advancements and changing societal norms. ATF interaction analysis. The incident raises critical questions about privacy and government surveillance. The ATF agent's knowledge of the civilian's purchase, presumably made with a credit card, points to the extensive reach of government surveillance capabilities. In a digital age where financial transactions are predominantly electronic, this interaction underscores the ease with which government agencies can track individual purchases. The civilian's reaction, suggesting a return to cash transactions to avoid surveillance, reflects growing public concern over privacy and the erosion of anonymity in financial dealings. The encounter also highlights the tension between law enforcement tactics and civilian rights. The ATF agent's approach, perceived as demanding and intrusive, was met with resistance. The civilian's refusal to answer questions or surrender the trigger without a warrant illustrates the legal protections individuals have against unwarranted searches and seizures. This interaction exemplifies the delicate balance law enforcement must maintain in upholding the law while respecting individual rights and freedoms.
That says you have the law. You don't make law, right?
I don't.
Yeah, the ATF doesn't make law. I own the company Moonlight Industries.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So we make like low visibility.
Oh, really?
That just recently the ATF classified the FRTs, the force
Sure.
reset triggers.
Like low visibility MP7 rigs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So were you expecting us?
The discussion delves into the distinction between laws and rules, with the civilian challenging the authority of the ATF to enforce what they perceive as mere rules rather than legally established laws. This distinction is crucial in understanding public compliance and the legitimacy of government actions. The civilian's assertion that adults are not obligated to follow rules in the same way they must follow laws speaks to a broader skepticism about the overreach of regulatory agencies and the legal basis of their actions. The ATF agent's role in this scenario is also a point of focus. They are portrayed as merely executing orders, following new regulations or directives without necessarily endorsing them. This raises questions about the responsibility and discretion of law enforcement officers in the face of controversial or unpopular laws and regulations. The agent's position as an enforcer rather than a policymaker highlights the often challenging position law enforcement finds themselves in, enforcing laws that may not always align with public opinion or understanding. This interaction mirrors a growing public perception of government actions as overreaching or authoritarian. Rights and government surveillance. It demonstrates the complexities and challenges that arise when enforcing arm regulations in a society that highly values both security and individual freedoms.
So I won't be answering any questions today. I don't have any comments on this subject.
We, like you said, we are the ones that just come and knock on the door. We just
Sure.
enforce the laws.
So I won't be answering any questions. If I'm not being detained, I'm not under arrest, I'll just be leaving now.
The conversation between the ATF agent and the civilian encapsulates the ongoing struggle to balance these competing interests. In Instant, the dialogue between the ATF agent and the civilian over the forced reset triggers is a microcosm of larger issues facing modern society. It highlights concerns over privacy, the distinction between laws and regulations, the role of law enforcement, and the public's perception of government authority. This incident serves as a poignant example of the challenges in navigating the intricate balance between maintaining public safety, respecting individual rights, and protecting privacy in an increasingly digital and monitored world. ATF enforcement debate. The core of the dispute lies in the perceived authority of the ATF to enforce rules that have not been explicitly legislated or passed through a congressional hearing. The civilian in the interaction questions the ATF's power to make laws, pointing out that while the agency can enforce existing laws, it does not have the legislative power to create new ones. This distinction is crucial in understanding the limits of the ATF's authority and the legal basis for its actions. The ATF's role is to enforce armed laws, but when it comes to creating or modifying these laws, that responsibility lies with Congress. This delineation of power is a fundamental principle in the American legal system, ensuring a balance between law enforcement and legislative processes. Another significant point in the conversation is the emphasis on legal processes, specifically the necessity of a warrant for searching someone's property. The civilian's insistence on a warrant reflects a broader concern about the protection of individual rights against unwarranted searches and seizures, as guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment. This aspect of the interaction highlights the importance of due process and legal procedures in law enforcement activities. The ATF agent's mention of potential felony charges without a warrant to search the house raises questions about how such enforcement would be practically and legally implemented. The discussion also touches on the broader role of law enforcement officers and the boundaries of their legal authority.
But okay, so we are aware that you did purchase FRTs again.
That's incredible.
And we have to pick them up. They're illegal. So.
Well, what didn't surprise me when I saw a guy in a plate carrier showing up. So. I'm not refusing anything. I won't be answering any questions.
Okay.
The civilian implies that possessing a badge does not grant an ATF agent the right to overstep legal boundaries or commit what might be perceived as crimes. This perspective underscores the public's expectation that law enforcement should act within the confines of the law and respect individual rights. It also reflects a growing public sentiment that questions the actions of law enforcement agencies, especially in areas where legal authority and public perception might not align. This interaction between the civilian and the ATF agent exemplifies the ongoing tension between law enforcement objectives and the preservation of individual rights. It illustrates the complexities involved in enforcing regulations that are in a gray area of legal authority and public acceptance. The civilian stance in this dialogue echoes a broader societal concern about overreach by government agencies and the importance of adhering to constitutional protections. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.